as a community and bring this awareness about addiction recovery and depression and anxiety.
It's you that your vulnerability is what makes you real.
Vulnerability is the first thing I look for in you and the last thing I'm willing to show you.
This is sponsored by I Am Recovery. It's also put on by Zaba Events and also sponsored by Brown Sugar Media.
So without further ado, my new friend, Cactus Jack, I want to introduce you to him with gratitude. Give him an applause, please.
I need thee every hour, most gracious Lord. No tender voice like thine can peace afford. I need thee, oh, I need thee. Every hour I need thee. Oh, bless me now, my Savior. I come to thee. I need thee every hour. Stay thou nearby. Temptations lose their power when thou art nigh. I need thee, oh, I need thee. Every hour I need thee. Oh, bless me now, my Savior. I come to thee. I need thee every hour. Enjoy your fame. Come quickly and abide, or life is vain. I need thee, oh, I need thee. Every hour I need thee. Oh, bless me now, my Savior. I come to thee. I come to thee. Woo. Thank you. I'm an Aussie who spent a little bit of time in Texas growing up, so there's a little bit of Southern Baptist in me there. That's not the normal LDS version you might hear on a Sabbath day. Good evening to you. My name is Cactus Jack. Thank you for coming. I'd absolutely like to recognize tonight my sweetheart wife. She's the hot chick on the Chevy truck over there. And my sweet daughter. She's my bonus daughter. And she, I'm going to have, actually both of them are going to come up and sing with me tonight, whether they like it or not. Do you need to turn this on? This is Adam. He's coming up on stage to turn me on.
Thanks, Mike. I get in trouble for saying this. I know I'm going to get in trouble. But I'm a dumb carpenter by trade. And if you're a carpenter out there, please don't be offended. My wife gets mad at me for saying that. But I say it for a particular reason. And I'm 52 years old. And if you don't mind, I kind of generally like to start with where my life is today. And then I'd like to kind of walk you backwards and share a few experiences with you. So at this very moment, I'm an executive producer of a film company called Life According to Cactus Productions with my sweetheart. She's an executive producer. For the last 12 months, we've been filming a feature film that has become a war on shame, using addiction as the platform. We have smashed a car into a tree at 30 miles an hour with 9 cameras on it. We have cut people out of a rolled car using the South Ogden Fire Department. We've traveled to Arizona. We've filmed all over the nation. We have, what else have we done, babe? We've filmed overdoses, rushing into hospitals, trying to revive people. We have some extraordinary stories. We're following the lives of 12 people from a cast of over 62 that we got involved with 12 months ago. Originally, in November of 2015, was it November? We met with a lady from Arizona. She had seen some of my music videos, loved my productions, and asked if I would be willing to help her produce a photograph. And so I have 8 records out currently. I've had a pretty magical ride with the music. I came across in 2010 to become a rock star in America, and my journey has just, I had never ever imagined I would be here today. Mostly because I'm really a dumb carpenter. I don't know anything. I don't have any education other than high school. I never went to university. I don't have any numbers after my name or letters after my name. I just figure it out. And so there's a side of the entertainment industry where if you don't have university degrees, you're not considered worthy, which is fine. I went ahead and did it myself. So today I have 8 records. I have scored a number of films, short films, feature films. Does anybody know the series Hidden in the Heartland? Kels Goodman's Hidden in the Heartland series? You do, lady? Yeah, excellent there. So I was able to score the music for that. I've been able to accomplish all these crazy, wild things. And I don't brag. I don't want to brag. I don't mean to sound like I'm bragging. And there's a reason for why I want to say what I'm saying. I am accomplishing the things I've always wanted to accomplish. But my life started where my earliest memories were of the most disgusting kind of abuse you could imagine for a child. And that was in my home until I was at the age of 11, and I finally fought back. And that moved on to other types of abuse until I got out of that family, and I was called to serve a mission in Australia. And that was a mission for the LDS Church. So believe it or not, I'm an active member of the LDS Church. I look like this every Sunday. I still get asked if I am a member of the church because I look like this on Sundays. But I'm a member of the church. Are there any of the Latter-day Saints? Is this more predominantly Latter-day Saint? All right. I'm not a Mormon, though, and that's a conversation for another day. But I'm definitely a Latter-day Saint. And so I served this mission, and it was wonderful. It was wonderful to be connected to a group of young men and young women, and to have a family, like a really functional family, where the mission president was like my father, and the mission, his wife, the mission matron was my mother, and they they loved me like parents, and I loved my mission. And it was a wonderful opportunity. It was really hard trying to push religion in Australia, where beer and footy are the religion. It's pretty rough. On a Sunday, they want to be off watching football and having a beer. And good on them. That's all right. Because there's something I love about Australians. They may not attend a church regularly, but they will drop their shirt off their back and give it to you. If you're in need, they show up. And that's what we call mateship. And so after my mission, I came back to Texas very quickly and decided I want to live in Australia. So a year later, my new bride and I, we moved back to Australia, and that's where I was going to live the rest of my life. And we established our own life. Now, 15 years later, the marriage didn't work out so well. We divorced, and life moved on for me. And it was pretty rough. Having left Texas and going back to Australia, my parents cut me off. They were disgusted with my decision and said, "You're no longer family." So I'm set adrift, and even the birth of their first grandson didn't seem to heal any of that. And they wanted nothing to do with it. I remember telling my mother this, that you have a grandson, and she said, "Well, how nice for you." And so then for 5 years longer, and please, I'm not trying to make anybody the bad guy. I want to explain the situations that somehow relationships can get so toxic. I'm sure you've all experienced it. There's a time in your life when relationships get so toxic that you've got to disconnect. And it's sad and it's hard, but you've got to disconnect for your own health. And as a young kid trying to live the ensign cover picture of Mormonism, I didn't want to lose my family, and it was such a hard choice. And as our sweet daughter said the other day, she's realizing now that relationships are messy, that life is messy. And it's kind of a smack in the face to find this out. And so we just kept going and we kept going, and things got messier and messier. And my first wife, she didn't really, and I didn't really know what was going on with trying to cope with the kind of lifestyle I grew up in. And I don't say this at all for sympathy. I don't want any sympathy from anybody. I'm not a victim of abuse. I don't believe in victims. I believe that you experienced it and you deal with it. Some people deal with it in a healthy way, and some people deal with it in an unhealthy way. I don't believe in victims. I feel like that keeps you stuck in your stuff. And if anybody's gone through recovery, being stuck in your stuff is a kind of a common phrase. Let's get you unstuck. And we get stuck in our stuff when we get this label on us. But I want to say that I went through some really ugly, hard stuff. Because I want you to know that I relate to you. That life is messy. That good people do bad things. And so I experienced a lot of this growing up, and I was so excited to finally be married, moving on in Australia, and then 15 years later and 5 kids later, boom, everything fell apart. And it was a struggle. And during that time, my mother passed unexpectedly. From my perspective, it was unexpected. And as we learned later that my father took my mother's life, and then he took his life several years later. So really crappy things can happen in your life. I get that. My sweet bride grew up in a very similar environment to me, and has had some long years of trying to overcome that abuse, to overcome. And one of the things that we say to each other, as we look at it as kind of a gift now, because I can look at my wife and I know when she's struggling. I know what's going through her mind. I know when fears come up or anxieties come up, and I get it. And she can look at me and she can get it. We know that language. We speak that language. And that is a gift, when you deal with hard stuff and you feel like nobody around you understands your language. Has anybody ever felt that way? When you feel like you're the only person that's gone through what you're going through? Yeah, I've been there too. In fact, I want to tell you this quick story, and then I'm going to sing to you again. So life was really tough. The divorce was really tough. And I got myself back on my feet, and it's 2009. 2010. It's early 2010. No. Babe, help me out. Was it 2009 or 2010? The lump. I think it was 2010. Thank you. I move into this, my ex-wife wants to move across Australia, and the older kids want to come live with me. And that was a triumph, that my kids wanted to live with me. I was so grateful that we'd been able to work things through, and they wanted to live with their dad. So Mum goes across to the other side of Australia, the kids live with me. We move in, I bought a house, we moved into this ward, and it's the first ward that Sunday. I'm sitting down on a bench, in the back there, checking out the ward, and this long, blonde-haired filly comes walking in. She sits down a few benches in front, and I'm thinking, ooh, she's cute. Nah, she's probably the bishop's wife, because she's sitting by herself, so with my luck, she'd be the bishop's wife. Well, it turns out a couple of Sundays later that she was single as well. So man, I made a beeline for her, and we started talking, and we started dating, and it was absolute bliss. And I finally thought, I've got my kids with me, my business is booming. I had a mining consulting company in Australia, and things were booming, and I'm with the love of my life, and things are wonderful. And then one day, this lump in my back that I had for years grew a little bit bigger, and 2 weeks later, it was the size of a baby's head. I looked like the Hunchback of Notre Dame, and okay, that's a little bit concerning, right? Something like that shouldn't grow so fast. I go to the doctor, they take it out, and I'm waiting for a couple of weeks to have it biopsied. Now that night I got back from the biopsy, and my sweetheart at the time says she wants to talk to me. Now forgive me guys who've heard this story over and over and over, but I still feel like it's a very relevant story to tell. When your sweetheart, we've been dating for 9 months, when your sweetie comes over and says she wants to talk to you after you've just had a tumor taken out of your back, what do you think she's going to say? What? I'm with you. I love you. I'm here for you, yeah. You and me, brother. I'm here for you, man. So she comes over, she sits down, and she says, I need to tell you something. And I'm ready for it. I'm ready to hear the love. I'm ready to hear the support. And she says, I'm getting married. Now, not only do I mention the fact that I'm a dumb carpenter, but I'm a dumb blonde as well, because I thought, yeah, I know you're getting married to me. So I said, I know, and I gave her a wink. And she was very sullen-faced, and she said, no, I need to tell you I've been dating somebody else for 2.5 years, and he asked for my hand in marriage, and I accepted. Now, I stopped hearing what she was saying to me, and this rage developed inside of me. And I thought, God, you have got to be kidding me. You have. I totally didn't care. Just somehow I switched off, even caring about this woman anymore. I was so angry at God for putting me in this situation again. This is like Charlie Brown believing this time that Lucy's going to hang on to the ball and he can kick it, and she swipes it away again. And I was furious with God. And I stood up, and I very politely asked her what his name was, and she told me, and I said, well, Mrs. Such and Such, have a happy life. And I walked out of my life. I walked out of that house. I left keys, I left phone, I left money, and I was wearing cowboy boots, and I took off. And I headed north. And I'm the crazy guy that you see on the road when you're driving around sometimes. I was frothing at the mouth, angry at God. I was swearing at him. I was calling him every foul thing I could think of. Because we're taught that if you offend the Spirit will do what? Leave. It'll leave you alone, right? And I wanted God completely out of my life. So bugger you, God. I'm done with you. I'm done with all your games, your plans. You stay out of my way, because I sure as Hades I'm going to stay out of yours. I'm done. I was sick to death of just not being worthy enough. Just not being good enough. So I walked for 8 hours north. And I wanted to do the Forrest Gump thing and just keep going until I found water and just keep going. I was done. Now, for me as a bloke, I know that about 8 hours of walking in high heels on a hot summer's, it was still sort of summery. It was still still warm, because in Australia, the seasons are different. So this is March, so it's still kind of warm at night. And that's about how long it takes for me to kind of cool down a little bit, about 8 hours. I don't know, some of you blokes, how long it takes you, but for me it's about 8 hours. And I realized that every step forward is another step back, and that I needed to get back, at least to my kids. My kids needed me. I would just live my life for my kids now. Forget everything else. Every other reason didn't matter, just my kids. So I turned around and went home. And in that 8-hour walk back, I really began to think a lot about the silliness of me blaming God for everything. In fact, I realized that it was kind of silly to blame my dad and my mom, my ex-wife, my God, people in the church. It was kind of silly to blame any of them for any of the way that I felt. It was up to me to decide. So by the time I got back to the house, my kids were upset. We had a chat. They were really angry with the lady was still there at the house when they got home, and she told them what had happened, and they asked her to politely leave and never come back. And they were upset and hurt. And we all sat down together and said, you know what, we'll figure this out. But I need a shower, and I need to talk to somebody and apologize. So I did that. I went, I wonder if I can load this up. If you'll bear with me just a second. I had my shower and got everything settled down, and I realized that I'm going to need to have a sit-down chat with my God. And that was pretty rough, because I was expecting when you I guess through the scriptures you expect God to be ready to send down bolts of lightning, because I was pretty rude. I spoke to him pretty rudely. And I knelt down, and look, the only thing that I knew in life was that I just wasn't good enough for you. I know you love me, and I know you'll be there for me, but I'm not good enough for you, and I'm not good enough for you. I'm close, but just not enough. I'm the kid that when I did the dishes, my mom said, did you wipe the table down too? Or when I cleaned my father's car, he says, well, did you remember to do the tires? Instead of, there was always that just not good enough. Instead of, wow, I didn't even ask you to do this. Thank you so much. That's so wonderful of you to be so thoughtful. I was always, well, did you do this? But you didn't do that. And so I lived in this constant state of never being good enough. And then I would do silly, stupid things to try to prove that I was good enough to you. When I was your friend, I was that annoying guy that would just go way over the top to try to do things for you. I would wash your car, and then I would air the tires out, and then I would take it down the road and get it serviced, because I wanted you to like me, man. I wanted us to be buddies. So I would do all these crazy things, and I wouldn't learn personal space, and I was so awkward as a person. So I came home that night, and I'm expecting even my God to say, I knew it. I knew you weren't good enough. I knew you couldn't hack it. You're no good to me. Leave me alone. That's what I was expecting when I knelt down to my God. And I just needed to apologize, because I knew I had done something wrong. I was out of line to blame God for this. So I got down on my knees, and I am expecting, in fact, I'm trying to formulate the words in my brain. I was trying to be as poetic and as, I don't know, as formal as possible. And all I could say was, oh my God, I am such a jerk. And I wanted to say I'm sorry. And before I could finish the sentence, I'm sorry, he spoke back to me, and he said, okay. There wasn't a, thou art cursed among all men and shall be driven down to hell. There was nothing like that. There was no Old Testament God. It was just my mate saying, man, you've just had something rough happen to you. Okay, it's okay. And then, very surprisingly, he changed the subject. And he said, Now what do you want to do? That really caught me off guard, because I'm expecting to do a lot of Hail Marys for what I just did in the last 16 hours. I was expecting a lot of penance. I was expecting a lot of punishment. I was expecting to pay for this for a long time. And God says, okay, now what do you want to do? I had nothing left to lose. I was at the bottom for me. I'd hit rock bottom. So I said, okay, I want to do my music. And I didn't get a, thou hast been foreordained since the beginning of time to be the musician and to change the lives of many. I didn't get any of that. I didn't say, nothing. He just said, okay. He was leaving this to me to choose. I got to choose who I wanted to be. I got to decide. There wasn't this foreordination. There wasn't this, well, this is what you're meant to do. God was just waiting for me to make a choice. What do you want to do? My close mate, Heavenly Father, said, what do you want to do? I want to do my music. And he said, okay. So over the next many months, I sold everything I owned of any value, and I came across the United States to start breaking into the music industry. Now, can we put a bookmark on that story? And may I sing to you again? Yes? Okay. I'm going to, and are you nearby, Joey? Good on you, mate. You said that like an Australian. What I'd like to do is pull up one little track that I didn't plan on singing, but I really would like to sing this for you right now. So I came to Australia. I'm going to pop the, you ready? I came to Australia, I came to the US, and again, I can play the piano. If I sit down, if I hear it, I can work it out and I can play it. I struggle still with those lines, that go this way, and the little dots that go, and the squiggly stuff. And my daughter and my wife can all figure all that out, but I still struggle to figure all that out. So it's fairly ambitious to come over and try to put together an orchestra and a choir with the music I can hear in my head. But I managed to be able to do it, and I figured it out, and I found the right people to help me. So I started arranging music, and I decided that a Christmas album would be a good business step, because America loves their Christmas, right? Everybody loves Christmas in America, and everyone loves Christmas arrangements. So I put together a Christmas album. And on the 2nd of December, I'm singing my heart out at Thanksgiving Point. You guys know Thanksgiving Point? Do you remember the gift shop there? Yes. So they picked up my album. I was so excited that a commercial establishment would actually sell my album. So I'm singing away, promoting it, and I'm packing it out every night. We're getting 250 people pack out the store every night. It was wonderful. And somebody suggested that I contact Deseret Book, because they might like this. So I contacted Deseret Book on the 3rd of December, and they laughed at me and said, I spoke to Debbie Simmons. She says, we don't take, it's the 3rd of December. This is the Christmas season. We take Christmas stuff in July. And I asked her if she'd be willing then to just consider it for next year. So she says, okay, bring a couple of CDs down, click. So I went down to Deseret Book, dropped a couple of CDs off. I didn't even get a chance to meet her. I had to leave him at the elevator, and I walked away. Well, I'm grateful that she went and listened to it, and she called me about half an hour later, and she said, Cactus, I've just listened to the first 60 seconds of your record. How many have you got? And I said, well, I ordered 4,000, so I've got a little bit less than 4,000. And she said, how long would it take you to get 4,000 more? And I said, well, I've got time, right? Because you don't need it till next year. She says, no, we want it in the stores now. And it went into the stores. 2 weeks later, it was the #1 record for Deseret Book. Now, I don't know anything about music. I don't know anything about orchestras. I had a 55-piece choir and 55-piece orchestra and 145-voice choir helped me record this album. I'm a dumb carpenter. I don't know what I'm doing, and I'm in America, and I made this thing happen. So I'm going to start saying from this point on, if I can do this, so can you. And I was 45 years old. A little bit late to be Justin Bieber. Is it Bieber or Beaver? I don't know. Either one works. Yeah. If I can do it, so can you. Whatever it is that you feel in here, if I can make it happen, so can you. So can you. So can you. You're doing it, man. You are doing it. So can you. Yeah. Okay. So what I did was I put together this choir and orchestra. This is an arrangement of another LDS hymn. I don't want to put you to sleep. But I really love this, and I feel like, again, as a gratitude to my best mate, my Heavenly Father, I'd like to sing this. Okay, so I'm just getting the pitch there. We'll start out a cappella, and then I'll bring the orchestra and stuff in. Okay. Oh, my Father, Thou that dwellest in the high and glorious place, when shall I regain Thy presence and again behold Thy face? In Thy holy habitation did my spirit once reside. In my first primeval childhood was I nurtured near Thy side. Can we have a little bit more up here? For wise and glorious purpose Thou hast placed me here on earth, and withheld the recollection of my former friends and birth. Yet oft times a secret something whispers you're a stranger here, and I felt that I had wandered from a more exalted sphere. Through Thy Spirit from on high, but until the key of knowledge was restored, I knew not why. In the heavens our parents single, know the thought makes reason stare. Truth is reason, truth eternal. existence. When I lay this mortal by, Father, Mother, may I greet you in your royal courts on high. Then at length, when I've completed all you sent me forth to do, with your mutual approbation, let me come and dwell with you. Thank you. So 2012, I hadn't even been in the US for 2 years. I put together an orchestra and a choir. That album went to #1 with Desert Book in July of that year. And they signed me to a 7-record deal in total, but 6 records. They wanted me to cactusify the hymn book, the LDS hymn book. So they said, if you could do that in 6 albums, that'd be great. So I'm on my way. I'm finally doing what I feel is in my heart. But I tell you what, it takes a lot of work and a lot of sacrifice. And when other people are out dancing and watching movies and having a good time socializing, I'm the guy that was on YouTube trying to figure out how to score for orchestras. So at the end of 2012, I produced a musical. I put together a 65-piece orchestra, live orchestra, and a cast of 62, and cast of 23 and a crew of 62. And we put together a musical called A Time of Forgiving, and it's a Christmas musical. And we break this family apart on Christmas Eve, and it was a phenomenal run of this musical in 2012. And we began to build and grow from there. Life According to Cactus Productions began, and I began to get into movies and music. And we began to produce my own music videos, but I wanted to do something. So Adam, you're going to get mad at me for saying this, but I don't produce things to get the likes, and I don't try to get the hits and the views. Yes, it would be great if people wanted to see what I do, but I feel like that's the wrong path for me. I don't want to do something that goes viral for the sake of getting a viral video. I'm too old. There's too much in here that wants to get out, and I would much rather do something that meant something other than just a couple of clicks and a view and that's it, you never see it again. So I'm scoring the music for this movie called Thorns, and they wanted an ending credits kind of song, so I came up with this song, and I decided to call it Crown of Thorns. And I know some of you probably seen the music video around, and the director hated it. He said, this is horrible. I don't want this anywhere near the movie. And I felt so passionately about it, I said, well, then you need to get someone else to do the music for your movie, because it's either that you take all of this as a package deal or nothing. And we'd already scored the music for his film, and he says, okay, well, the producer stepped in, thankfully, and she said, look, this is brilliant. So the music went, and it actually won the Academy Award for Best Music for the Christian Film Association Awards. It was a Christian film, and so it's called the 5 Dove Award. So that was pretty awesome. But I don't really care too much about the awards. I don't have anything sitting on my shelves anywhere. What I do care about, here's the kind of awards I care about as a musician, is the letter that I got. Were we married by this time? Or was it before we were married? I think it was before we were married. Haley Smith. I think it was just before we were married. Yeah, it was, because it was before I went to Bali for Taylor's wedding. I get a what do you call it? Just a private message from the Facebook Messenger app? Yes, do you call it private message? Okay. Private message from a woman named Haley Smith. And we're not outing her because she posts this several times on Facebook a year. She was sitting in her car, engine running, garden hose out of the tailpipe into the car, and sitting there drifting off to sleep. And she felt the need to go back inside and write a note. She thought, I better at least leave a note. Life had just become too hard for her. So she goes inside, flips open her laptop to leave the note on the laptop. And for some reason, somehow, my music video popped up. And so she watched the music video called Crown of Thorns. And it changed her. It changed her outlook on life. For the first time, she felt like somebody got her. Somebody spoke her language. Somebody understood what she was going through. And so she went and turned the car engine off and went and sent me a message and said, I just want you to know you saved my life tonight. Now, I don't know her, but I'll tell you what, I would much rather perform and do that sort of thing and have that impact on someone's life than to get a bunch of viral videos. And with that ethos, my sweetheart and I moved into movie making, and we got married, and we have developed this amazing project. I'd like to sing for you again, and I want to bring Bonnie up for this. This is one of the songs that we're putting in the movie. The film is called A Seat for Everyone, and if you're not terribly bored yet, I'll tell you one more story about the film and sing for you again after this, and then we'll call it a night. Would that be all right? Yes? Anyone's bums numb yet? Got numb bum syndrome? Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is my sweet bonus daughter, Bonnie Elise. She is herself an incredible songwriter, singer, and you'll be hearing a lot more about her because I'm too old. She's going to step up and take the limelight here. So, this is a song that I've written for the film, and kind of crazy enough, one night I'm singing away, and upstairs I hear this ethereal, magical voice singing along with me. And Bonnie had written a song. You tell them a little bit about that song.
It's called Ever Sweet. It's a love song dedicated to whomever I end up marrying, which I'm not married yet, but yeah.
And you have to go through me, gentlemen, if you want to talk to her afterwards. Speak to me first. Okay, and so we thought we would just she sang her song with my song, and I love the sound of it, she loves the sound of it, so we're just going to play this for you. The song is called Between You and Me. What I am, and what you want me to be, is the only thing that stands between you and me. And what I give, and how you take it from me, is the only guarantee between you and me. It's not right, it's not the way it's meant to be, and that's okay. I can still love you this way. You say you want me, then you you say go away. It's the only constant game that we seem to play. It's not right, it's not the way it's meant to be, it's not the best of us. We can't stay, but we can't leave, and that's okay. I can still love you this way. It's not right, it's not the way it's meant to be, it's not the best of us. We can't stay, but we can't leave, and that's okay. I can still love you this way. I love that. Thank you, sweetie. Nice. Thank you. Okay, so it's July last year, and we're shooting a photograph. So we're producing a still shot. And the message was lovely. The lady who had asked us to help produce this for her, as I said, her name was Holly Hess Riggs. And she wanted to make a statement about pornography. She had just come out of a marriage, a 17-year-long relationship, where only 2 years before she discovered, her husband finally came clean and said, I need you to know that I've had multiple affairs and pornography, and well, for how long? Well, since before our marriage, and that he'd been cheating on her. And amazingly, she didn't kick him to the curb. She said, let's work through this. So he was willing to actually work it out. And over that next year, they went through a lot of therapy together. They met with their church leaders. They met with professional therapists. And she got to a place on a particular... The irony is, on a particular Sunday, when she was asked to share her feelings about the atonement of Jesus Christ, she had finally gotten to this place where she could forgive him. She could just get it and move forward with her life. And she did. And her father-in-law, who she was very close to, was in the congregation. Her husband was still away. She had just driven back from Canada. They were horse people. They bred Arabian horses, and she was a photographer. And so they're up doing a horse show, and she had driven down early so she could fulfill her commitment to speak in her congregation. And the husband stayed on. She's speaking and feeling this immense love for her husband and this sense of release that she'd forgiven him. And her father is in the audience, the congregation, crying, and as she saw, very moved by her speaking, her talk. And so, unfortunately, the father knew a little bit more than she knew at the time, that the son was still cheating and still betraying their marital vows. And so it finally all came out, and she decided to end the relationship. And for a woman to be married to your prince, to be married to your knight in shining armor, And to have him have wandering eyes, that's so destructive. It destroys self-worth so quickly. And it took her many years to try to come to some sense of, again, some self-worth. She felt shame because she wasn't good enough. There was something about her, and in fact, we talk about this in the film, that she actually went under the knife to change her appearance, to look more, in her mind, she thought, if I look more like the women he goes for, he'll want me again. So she went to these extreme lengths to try to find some kind of worthiness. And as we got to know her more, and as she shared these stories, it became something different than just a photograph. And we didn't want to just talk about pornography, because the worth of a soul, if there's one thing the adversary or negative people or powerful people or negative forces, whatever you believe, if there's one thing they can get you to believe, they've got you. And that is, if you're not good enough. You're almost there, but. And if you feel like you're not worthy, boom. If I'm the adversary and I can make you feel like you're not worthy, I have power over you forever. I own you. Because I can make you feel worthless, and I can make you jump through all the hoops in the world to get you to try to please me. I can do it. And that's what he does. I lived that world for 45 years where I was just not good enough. And the problem is, it's not the adversary, and it's not you, and it's not my parents, it's not my father, it's not my mother, it's not my high school mates who picked on me constantly and called me names incessantly. It's me. I need to remember my own self-worth. Sometimes I still struggle with this, but there's a statement that I love that express and give 100% gratitude to the opinions of others and 0 value. I don't care what you think of me. I don't care what you think of my music. I don't care what you think of my performance tonight. I don't care what you think of my story. I'm not going to go home and think, I hope they like me. I hope someone will sign up on Facebook and like me. I just hope that whatever the tools I've learned, I'm handing those over to you. I hope they help you. Wonderful. Great. If they don't help you, wonderful. Great. I learned that my value belongs to me only. And I'm going to challenge maybe some of you who are thinking here, but I don't even think you should allow God's value of you to matter. Because it's useless until you realize who you are. Until you get who you are as a person. What is your worth? And you get to decide that. We just bought a 1971 television for a scene that we're reenacting for the movie. And I think it was on sale for $50. It's one of those old, it doesn't work anymore. You just turn it on and you see the white noise, right? But we needed it. It's such an important part of a particular scene that we're reenacting. And we jumped for joy, and we were so willing to pay $50 for this TV. And the lady that sold it to me said, I felt bad asking for $50. I don't think it's even worth that much. And we're like, no, here, $50, we'll get it now. Thank you. We're so overjoyed to be able to have this. Worth is subjective. What I think is a value on something is totally different to what you think. So please don't invest in my opinions of you as a return of your worth. You decide that for yourself. However, instead of saying, well, stuff you, I don't care about what you think of me, say, okay, I appreciate that. I appreciate that you don't like my long hair, or that I should cut it, or that I should do more country music, or I don't know, whatever. Those are lots of opinions that have been expressed to me. Thanks for those opinions, but I love my long hair. I love the way the wind blows through it on a summer night. And I love the kind of music that I write, and I love the soul of it. And I wear cowboy boots everywhere and jeans. I think I wore shorts once, and it freaked my family out that I was wearing shorts. Like, you have legs? This is what I like. And I want you to like what you want to like. And I want my bride to like what she wants to like. And I want Bonnie to like what she wants to like. And I'll offer an opinion. I'm very opinionated. Yes, I'm very opinionated. But that's my opinions. So, please take this home with you tonight. Give 100% gratitude for the opinions of others. And how much value? 0 value. You decide for yourself. Please teach your children that. If they don't have the latest iPhone, so what? We began talking to the people in this photograph. And there's a Jesus involved in our photograph. There's a Mary Magdalene. And we hired all these people for their looks, what they looked like. And we were really excited about this. And then on the day of the shoot, people began to start talking to us about their stories. Oh, I need you to know that I was a porn addict for 17 years or something, and I lost 2 marriages because of it. Wow, okay, thanks for telling me that. And another lady said, yeah, my ex-husband, he cheated on me 14 times, and he was a porn addict, and he would come home and brag about it. It was like a trophy for him. And this message is so important about addiction. And Mary Magdalene's whole family, from her great-grandfather down, were alcoholics. And they struggled with alcoholism. And it wasn't just drunk. They were abusive drunks. Beat the crap out of you drunks. And so she lived with that kind of abuse. And we had extraordinary numbers of people come to us and share with us how important this message was to them. And I remember that night, and we tell this story all the time, that night I just said, babe, this is not a photograph. We've got to turn this into something. This is something more. We've got to make a movie out of this. And so we expanded it to all of these stories. So now we're following the lives of 13 people, and we're reenacting their stories, and it will amaze you what they've been through. It will amaze you what addiction will do to you. And I'm going to tell you that addiction is not the problem. Alcohol is not the problem. Pills are not the problem. Shame is the problem. Brené Brown says the opposite of addiction is what? You people know this. Connectedness, connection. The opposite of addiction is connection, right? So we love that statement. We love Brené Brown. And what is it though? What is it that causes a father to say to his son, you're no longer my child, get out of my face. I don't want you anymore. What is it that is so powerful to break that connection? What is it that causes, my father was immensely great for this. He would be your best mate for years, and you did one thing, and boom, you're out. He'd cut you off, you're gone. And he wouldn't look at that again. If he cut you off, you're done. And there's so many people like that. You probably have family members like that right now. There might be strained relationships where you're a brother, a sister, somebody, or a family member. You're aching because they cut you off, or maybe you've cut them off. The power to cut that connection is called shame. And that power is used every day in our culture. I'm the problem because I look at an addict, someone who's struggling with alcoholism or pills, and I say, you know what, I had a pretty crappy life myself. And you guys have heard a lot of my crappy life. I've been through a lot of stuff. And I'm not an addict, so what's wrong with you? Just stop taking the pills. Just stop drinking the bottle. That's all you have to do. And I shame them by saying that. And it wasn't until we cast our Jesus, and he was late for the wardrobe fitting. And I swear to you, this guy is Jesus. We didn't have to put hair on him. We didn't have to put a beard on him. He looks like this every day. And his name is Thomas. And he's a carpenter. And it was phenomenal. And he stands there and he says, I'm really sorry I'm late. And we're like, no, because we just love this guy because we feel like we're standing in the presence of the Savior. And he says, I'm so sorry to be late. My AA meeting ran long. That caused a real problem for me. What? He says, yeah, I'm an alcoholic. So this photo shoot is pretty important to me. I was dumbfounded. And it changed my thinking. I'm the problem because you're struggling, you're having a hard time, and you're making some dumb decisions, and I'm shaming you for them. And so what do? Do you want to come be my best mate because I'm saying get over it? No, you don't want to be my best mate. So you move on, you keep going, and I keep causing the problem. And so this whole film has become a war on shame. And we want to take our audiences from a place of judging that I'm a little bit superior to you because you're an addict. And I want you to walk out, we want you to walk out of that cinema saying, who can I help? Who can I apologize to? Who can I forgive? Because everybody is worthy of a seat at his table. Everybody is worthy to better their lives. Everyone is worthy because of the Savior. If you have any sort of Christian belief system, it's Christ that makes it possible for us to be worthy. And all you got to do is show up to the table. You just choose to be there. Travis Whitaker, he's an amazing, I don't know if anybody knows Travis Whitaker. He was with, do you know Travis Whitaker at all? No? Okay. He's kind of a rock star in our movie. We're following his life. And I love his statement that everybody is worthy to better their lives. All of us are. And let's get off each other's backs because it's tough enough as it is. If you make a bad decision, own it. And we can say, yeah, that was a pretty dumb decision. Heavenly Father didn't get mad at me when I was making dumb decisions. He said, okay, now what do you want to do? How do you want to change it? How do you want to fix it? What do you need? Can we be that way for each other? Can we look at each other in a different way after tonight and say, okay, you know what? That was a dumb mistake. And that kind of hurt me a little bit, but I love you. Let's figure it out. Let's fix this. My sweetie and I love it. We rumble. We talk through things. We rumble it out. I'd like to finish with one song. In fact, I want to bring my sweetie up to have her sing this with me. And we finished this second hymns album with this song, and life is rough. And that's exactly what we signed up for. I know that there are memes all over the internet that talk about failure is part of the plan. I can't stand that meme because failure is the plan. That's the point of this mortality. We came here to learn what it was like to screw up. We came here to make mistakes. We were set up to fail. Change my mind on that, I dare ya. Because it was before this life, not after. It was before Adam and Eve, not after Adam and Eve, that the atonement was worked out. It was, yep, I've got your back because mistakes are going to be made. So I'll make it so you can be worthy. Just learn from it. Just grow from it. So failure is the plan, folks. And I'm asking you to look around at all the people who fail around you and stop shaming them. In your humor, in your vitriol, in your gossip, in your discussions. Let's remove shame from our culture. If that's what you want to wear today, awesome, wear it, own it. Let's remove shame from our culture and give each other space to sit at his table, because everybody is worthy of a seat at his table. So, this is my sweet wife, Blue. This is kind of our story and our passion now. And thank you for, I really thought by halfway through you guys would walk away, so thanks for not walking away. And what we are involved in has consumed us. It's become a passion project, and we are excited for you to see the final of this. And so if you can remember a seat for everyone movie.com, please go there and sign up for updates. We would love to have you be a part of our audience family. We will finish principal filming in about 2 months, and we're hoping to release the film early next year now. We were hoping this year, but that's not possible. So probably early next year. And I don't know any of you, but that you're here today, that your families, that your mates, that your film crew, that your friends over there, whoever you are, I love that you exist and that you have chosen to live your life. It's tough, and we love you because of who you are. You are worthy to be here. The reservation has been made and your price has been paid. Your table is ready, and the Savior invites you to be there. Show up for Him, show up for each other, and we'll finish with this song. Thank you. Two. Yeah, if you're right. I want a little bit of water, please. Do you know how romantic it is to stand on stage right at sunset and sing with your sweetheart? I love this. I love my life. How gentle God's commands, how kind His precepts are. Beneath His watchful eye, His saints securely dwell. Come cast your burdens on the Lord, that hand which bears all nature up, and trust in His constant care. Constant care. Why should this anxious load press down your weary mind? His goodness stands approved, unchanged from day to day. And I'll cast my burdens at His feet, and I know I'll find refreshment sweet, and bear a song away, a song. Come cast your burdens on the Lord, that hand which bears all nature up. Come cast your burdens on the Lord, and trust in His constant care, in His constant care. Woo! Thank you. Thank you, guys. We thank you very, very much. And enjoy the rest of your beautiful summer. What time does school start? What day? What's D-Day for kids and excitement day for parents? 21st? Woohoo! 20th? Well, on behalf of Jared Casey and I'm Recovery, and I suppose Highland, they call us the Highland Fling. We thank you for the invitation to be here this year. Have a joyous, joyous 2018. No shaming anyone, please, especially not yourself. We love you. See ya. Thank you.